Hello and welcome to Spinster's Library. I'm Claudia and today I'm annotating a novel for the very first time in my life. So I've got the Picture of Dorian Gray here, which is one of the books I'm reading for Victober. This is a book that I know very well. I have read it upwards of 10 times in my life, but I last read it maybe 5 or 6 years ago. So it's a weird mixture of me knowing exactly what happens and then also not really being sure on some of the passages and stuff. So it will be a rediscovery for me. And that's why I thought this would be the perfect book for me to try out annotating. Now, I annotate books all the time for my PhD, but I have never annotated a book of fiction. So let's see how that goes. I have some utensils here. Let me show you. I have an assortment of fine liner pens. I've got a bunch of gel pens. I have a few coloured pencils. I have a normal pencil. I have some highlighter pens. I need to show you these with the little faces actually looking at you. And I have, where did I put it? Where did I put it? Minerva, are you sitting on my ruler? And I have this. Genuinely, I do not know what the English name is for this, so please let me know. Now, I am deliberately not sticking to a single specific method for annotating because I want to explore different ways of doing this and I want to see what feels natural to me. So I am just going to start reading the book and then see what I feel like scribbling. You know, if I'm going to write in the margins, if I'm going to highlight passages, if I'm going to cross-reference to other pages, I have no idea, and that's kind of exciting. So let's get started right after I figured out how to set up the tripod so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so this is not the most elegant setup. As you can see, the microphone cable is kind of in the way and you can sort of see bits of the tripod. I have no idea how RT organization YouTubers do this, so might have to do some more research on how to set up your tripod to do this. Anyway, let's get started with the book. Skip past blurbs at the beginning. Okay, nice portrait of Oscar Wilde there. And we've got his mum and dad and his wife and his lover. And there we've got some nice pictures of buildings. This is the grave of Oscar Wilde here. And I believe they have now put some sort of cage or some bars around it because people kept kissing it. So it was full of lipstick marks, which frankly is a bit weird. Show your appreciation in any other way, please. And there's Reading Jail. Okay. And here we've got detail of the manuscript of the Sphinx, which is weird. I guess maybe they didn't have a scan of the manuscript of Dorian Gray, because that seems like the more obvious thing to put at the beginning. Right, and then the famous preface. The artist is the creator of beautiful things. To reveal art and conceal the artist is art's aim. The critic is he who can translate into another manner or a new material his impression of beautiful things. Okay, I'm just going to read this and then see what I can scribble in it. Cue the montage. Minerva, what do you think? Is this clever? Am I doing it right? just gone ahead and scribbled. Is that what annotating is? I don't know. Am I doing it right? I don't care. Let me just explain to you what I've done. So I'm immediately drawn to the fine liner pens, and I'm not surprised by that because that is what I use to annotate academic texts as well. I just find them easy to read. I like that they pop, but they're not kind of hurting my eyes in the same way that highlighter pen does. So yeah, I'm not surprised that's what I instantly grabbed. The first thing that struck me was how many times in the first third of the preface Wilde talks about beauty and ugliness. So for example, those who find ugly meanings in beautiful things are corrupt without being charming. This is a fault. What does that mean? Those who find ugly meanings in beautiful things. So it sounds to me like he is already preemptively responding to potential criticisms of this book. So him saying that people who find ugly meaning in his work of beauty are corrupt, which is interesting. So I used this purple fine liner pen to highlight mentions of beauty and ugliness, and as you can see, it's all concentrated in this first paragraph. I used the gold pen to highlight favorite quotes or sentences. So I like books are well written or badly written, that is all. That's quite a famous one. That's quite a famous quote from this book, and I mostly agree with that. And I also like the very last sentence, all art is quite useless. Kind of ironic. I like that. And then I used the green to just find some connections between the sentences. So he talks about how everything can be a tool for the artist. For example, morality, thought, language, vice and virtue. So these things that we ascribe meaning to, he sees as just tool, material, inspiration for art. I used the black pen to put notes down, just thoughts that I had or responses that I had. So specifically for this sentence here, from the point of view of form, the type of all the arts is the art of the musician. So if I understand this correctly, he's talking about how form is basically the same as music and music is form. Now, I was a musician for a long time, and it is true that form, or as I would call it, technique, is possibly the single most important thing in musical performance. I know people like to think of music as this ethereal, magical, pure feeling, emotions that you can hear, but really, if you had a robot play an instrument with perfect technique, then it would be very, very close to the real thing. Whereas if you give a very feeling person an instrument, they're not going to do a great job. So I do kind of agree that music is maybe 90% form and 10% expression. So this was my annotation of the preface. Now I expect in the main body of the book, I'm not going to have quite so many things, because obviously this is just a collection of quotes. It's just a collection of little witty, clever sentences. So there's a lot in that page and a half. And there you have it. This was my first experience with annotating a book, and it seems pretty fun. I'm definitely diving a lot deeper into the book than I have on my previous rereads. The preface is almost made for annotating, isn't it? So I'm going to continue with the rest of the book. I can tell it's going to take me a long time to get through it, but hopefully I will get a lot more out of it. I found it much easier than I thought to just scribble in it. I know my handwriting's atrocious, and I know I'm basically ruining this specific copy of the book for anyone who might want to read it after me. But whatever, they can get their own copy. This is for me, and I'm enjoying it very much. So how do you think I did? If you are a serial annotator, do you have any tips, any advice, anything you would like to critique or give me feedback on? Because I would love to know how you do it. So share all of your annotation stuff below in the comments. I'm very keen to see how other people use annotation. Also, let me know if you are reading The Picture of Dorian Gray for Victober. I have seen it on quite a few people's TBRs, and I would love to hear your opinions on it. I hope you like it as much as I do. Right, I will keep going now. Chapter 1, here I come. Thank you for watching. Bye.